Why did I do that?
Why did you do that?
Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Nikki, and today's video I wasn't actually planning on filming, but I realized that I've gotten a lot of questions about how I make my 2-ingredient dough pineapple Canadian bacon pizza. So I thought I would make a video with 3 different dinner ideas, things that I've made on my weight loss journey or that we make all the time pretty much. This is one of our favorite dinners to have. So I'm gonna go ahead and walk you guys through it really quick, then I'll show you how I make it, and then I'll have a couple of other dinners after just to give you guys some more ideas. So if you find this video helpful, please go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it, and let's get started with this pizza. So I love making 2-ingredient dough pizza bakes. The recipe I use for the dough is 1 1/3 cup of all-purpose flour. Then I use 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and then 1 cup of non-fat Greek yogurt. This is just plain Chobani non-fat Greek yogurt. So 1 cup of this, 1 1/3 flour, and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And then the way that I bake them, so usually I just divide the dough in half between Adam and I. We're each gonna have our own bake. I use these glass dishes. These are actually from IKEA. It says they are 34 ounces and they are, I wanna say like 8 by 6 by 2. So perfect for pizza bakes. These are such filling meals and they really are a big portion. And even if they are a little bit higher point, it's worth it. We like to use our weeklies or just save up to have a big dinner like this because it's really satisfying and delicious. So after I make the 2-ingredient dough, I just push that down. And sometimes I get questions about whether or not you have to par bake the dough, which means just like tossing it in the oven 5 to 10 minutes to bake the dough a little bit before you put the toppings on. But I like to just put it directly on the unbaked dough. I just kind of like it a little bit doughier, but I like when the bottom gets golden brown. So what I do is I'll spray these with olive oil spray, spread the dough out, and then add the toppings. So for this one today, I'm using this Sweet Baby Ray, no sugar added, sweet and spicy barbecue sauce. There's also an original, and I wanna say mesquite is the other flavor, but this is my favorite. I really, really enjoy this barbecue sauce. I think it tastes the most similar to just regular barbecue sauce that I used to eat so much of before I started my weight loss journey. And so this is a good substitute. So I'll put a base of this on as the pizza sauce. Then I'm gonna go ahead and add some Canadian bacon. Okay, we cut a hole in the bag on accident, but this is Canadian bacon from Sam's Club. So I think we're each gonna have 3 slices for 60 calories, and I think it's 1 point for that serving. Then I'm also going to add some red onion, as well as some chopped up pineapple. And then I'm also gonna use light mozzarella cheese from Trader Joe's, which will be 2 points. So that is how I will assemble it. And then I bake it in the oven at 400 for usually like 25 to 30 minutes. I usually check at 25 to make sure the bottom is golden brown. And if it's not, I'll leave it in a little longer, but that is it. So I'm gonna go ahead and assemble these pizza bakes. Okay, so I ended up baking the pizza bake in the oven at 400 degrees for about 28 to 30 minutes. I think it was actually 30 minutes total, so that the bottom is nice and brown, you can see, but then it's still a little bit doughy on the inside. So I like to cut the pizza bake in half and then eat it with my hands like this, but this is half of it. So for the entire pizza bake, it is 12 points on WW. It's 9 points for the 2 ingredient dough, 2 points for the cheese and 1 point for the Canadian bacon. The pineapple is 0 for me, the barbecue sauce, and the red onion. So 12 points total for this whole thing. It's pretty filling. And that wraps up my first dinner, so I will be back with another one. Okay, so I am back with dinner number 2. This is another dinner that I get requests for a lot, and I realized I don't think I have a video showing how I make this. So this is one of our all-time favorite dinners. It's really simple to toss together, and I kind of just mix it up each time with the vegetables that I use, but I'm gonna be making crab pasta, and the pasta I like to use is the Barilla Protein Plus, either thin spaghetti or the angel hair noodles. Today we're doing the thin spaghetti. And what I do is I usually make us each 3 ounces. So the serving's usually 2 ounces dry, but I like to do 3 for 7 points. And I just go ahead and I have the water boiling for that now. So I'll weigh out the pasta dry on a scale, and then once it's done cooking, I'll just divide it evenly between the 2 of us. But in another pan on the stove, I'm gonna go ahead and dice up this zucchini as well as a red pepper. Sometimes I like to use spinach or mushrooms. Like I said, I kind of like to switch up the veggies that I use for this dish. Today, that's just what I have on hand. So I start by spraying the pan with some olive oil spray. I cook those 2 veggies, and I add some garlic paste as well. Then after that's cooked for about like 7 minutes, I add some imitation crab. So I have the stick style here. I'm gonna be making 6 sticks. I'm just gonna dice them up. And it's 3 points for 3 sticks, so we're each gonna have 3 in our dish. Then after I cook that for a little bit longer, and the pasta's done, I like to just add in some olive oil, so I use 2 teaspoons of that, some shredded Parmesan cheese, I use a 1/4 cup of this, then I use some salt and pepper, as well as some minced onion, some garlic salt, and then I'll probably do a little bit of the garlic Parmesan seasoning as well. I'll see how it is. But that's all I do really. So it's pretty quick to throw together. While the water is boiling, that's when I get the veggies chopped and cooked up. Then I cook the pasta, add the crab to the veggies, and that is it. I combine everything. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this started. This meal does come out to 13 points total on WW, so it is a little bit higher for a dinner. Usually we try to have a dinner anywhere from like 7 to I feel like 14 or 15 points. It's pretty much that big of a range usually. And it just depends on how many points we have left for the day, or if we have weeklies left to use, how hungry we are. And we're hungry tonight, so that's why we're doing the bigger portion of pasta, and we're just gonna split the veggies and crab. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Okay, so I have our meal finished and divided evenly. This comes out to 13 points, like I said. So the things I had to track for the recipe were the spaghetti, the Parmesan cheese, the crab, and then some olive oil. I added 2 teaspoons. So 13 points for this whole bowl. Adam was looking up the red lobster crab pasta and it was like 36 points or something. So it is definitely a lower point option, although it is a higher point dinner. One of our favorites. It's super filling. It's really high in protein and it's really easy to throw together. Sometimes I'll make a bigger batch so that we can have leftovers, but today we just wanted to split it between the 2 of us. So I'll be back with another dinner. Okay, so we are on to dinner number 3. And this is another dinner that I get a lot of people requesting the recipe for, and it is just Spanish rice. So for dinner tonight specifically, we're having tacos and Spanish rice, but I'm gonna walk you through how I make my Spanish rice. It's 4 points for the serving. It is so delicious and it's a big serving for what it is. What I do is I use this riced cauliflower mix, and this is what I talk about all the time in my grocery hauls, so that's why people ask how I use it. And I use it usually for fried rice or for Spanish rice like this. So today I'm gonna go ahead and use the entire bag. It is 50 calories for a third of the bag. So the whole thing's 150. It's 3 points for the whole thing. But when I track this recipe, I just have it already made in the WW app as Spanish rice, so I can just track a serving of it. So what I do is I have a large pan on the stove. I just started heating it to like medium heat, and then I'm gonna spray it with some olive oil non-stick spray. Then I'm gonna add this bag of the frozen veggies. So I just took it out of the freezer, but I try to kind of crush it up because it's usually like one big block. So I crushed it up a little bit, and then I'm gonna add that to the pan. I'm gonna let that cook for a few minutes, and then I'm gonna start adding the veggies. So the way I'm making it today, it's gonna have a lot of vegetables. It's gonna be a big serving, but sometimes I'll take the cans that I use and cut them in half, and with half of the vegetables that I use, I'll just make them into like a Mexican style veggie mix, and then the other half I use for the Spanish rice. But today I feel like using all of them. I want a big serving, and then we'll have leftovers. I'm gonna use an entire can of black beans. Sometimes I use pinto, sometimes I use black. I just switch it up. I'm gonna use 1 can of sweet corn, and then I'm gonna use a can of diced and no salt added tomatoes from Trader Joe's. These are our favorite to use. You can use any diced tomatoes though. So I strain all 3 of those out, and then I'll add them to the riced veggies. And then after that cooks for a few more minutes, I'm gonna go ahead and add 2 cups of rice. And jasmine rice is our favorite just for the flavor. And I find that it's really easy to use the freezer bags for this recipe because it's just such a quick recipe to throw together. And so I make it even more simple by having this done. Or sometimes I'll just have prepped rice in the fridge and I'll add that as well. But I add 2 cups of it. So that's what this is here. And I already just steamed this in the microwave, so it's made. So that'll be the last thing I add because it's like fully cooked. It doesn't need to be reheated. If I were to have grabbed it out of the fridge, I would let it cook a little bit longer with the whole rice. But then to that, I'm also gonna add a half cup of this enchilada sauce from Trader Joe's, and then that's it. I also add some salt and pepper and like taco seasoning and stuff, but I'll show you which ones I use. And then it's pretty much done. I let it cook for a few more minutes so that the flavors all combine, and that is it. So we'll have the Spanish rice as a side, and then I'm also cooking up some ground turkey right now, so it's actually 93% lean, not 99. I kind of like to do the 93 better for taco meat. And then to that, I just add some Taco Bell seasoning, so I add 2 packets of this with some water, and that'll be our taco meat to have with taco shells. So I'm gonna do probably 3 of these. It's 4 points on WW. It's 160 calories. And then I'll also add some lettuce, some light Mexican cheese. And then the last thing that we decided we're gonna have with this today is just this 815 Eats dip. It's a black bean jalapeno dip. This is actually 0 points for the serving and 25 calories, and you pretty much just fill it with water to the line, mix it up really well, and then microwave it for, I wanna say 90 seconds or so, and then it's done. So we're gonna make this just to add a little bit of something to our tacos. But I'm gonna go ahead and get started on the rice. Okay, so here's my finished taco meat. This is 2 pounds of 93% lean ground turkey with 2 taco seasoning packets and then some water. So that's done. And then here is my finished Spanish style rice. So like I said, this entire thing right here, I divide into 4 equal servings, and then it's 4 points. So the entire batch is 16 points on WW. It's super filling and flavorful, and I'm gonna go ahead and dish it up for us. Okay, so here is my final dinner. So I made 3 hard shell tacos and this little taco holder thing. I bought them off Amazon kind of as a joke. I didn't know if I'd actually use them, and now I use them all the time. They're so useful. So I have those tacos. I have light Mexican cheese on there, some of that 815 bean dip, the taco meat, and then some lettuce. And then there's my portion of the Spanish rice. So that's 4 points. So this entire meal comes out to 13 points on WW. This is gonna be super filling. And that is it. Okay, so that wraps up our third dinner of this video. I hope you guys found this helpful. Like I said, these are 3 of the dinners that I get asked for more often than some of the others that I make, because a lot of times I mention them in grocery hauls and stuff like that. So like I said, this entire dinner is 13 points on WW. This serving of rice is only 4 points. This is one of my favorite things to make. Like I said, I love to use those rice veggies and then my tacos. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it, and I will see you next time.